Oh, oh, oh. Oh, it's cold out there. Goodness. Well, hello, Rebecca. How are you?
I'm doing well, Santa. How are you?
Oh, just fine. Now that we're far enough apart, I'm going to take my mask off.
That would be fine.
I take it you're here for me to talk to the children?
I sure am. They're looking forward to hearing from you this year.
Hi, kids. How are you? You been good this year? All of the time? I don't think so. Not even I'm good all the time. I think I've told you that before. I'm good most of the time. Mrs. Claus gets mad at me. I leave tools out and toys. She stepped on a Lego the other day and been mad at me ever since. Well, what I thought I'd do is answer some questions that I normally get from kids. Mrs. Claus was nice enough to write them down for me. Well, first question is, why do you wear red? Living at the North Pole, we get blizzards a lot, and the red is so much easier to see. And if the blizzard's bad enough, you can't even see red. That's why we use ropes connecting all of our houses in the village. Okay? Plus, Mrs. Claus really likes red. Whoa. What's my favorite color? I'll be honest, it's blue. But blue isn't very good to use up in a blizzard because you can see blue ice. You might have heard of blue ice, but it's really blue isn't good to wear up there. Is Santa Claus my real name? I go by so many different names, and it has been so long that Chris is my real name. Kris Kringle. Now, what's my favorite Christmas song? This one will be on the top of most everybody's list. Fooled you. It's not Jingle Bells. My favorite is Silent Night. It's such a simple and beautiful song, but I do like Jingle Bells. It's right up there near the top, along with, oh, what's the one? Oh, Holy Night. I really like that one. And oh, this is the one I get all the time. Why is my beard gray and not white? When they first started doing the pictures in the newspaper and in magazines, well, they weren't really magazines. They were, forget what they called them, but they were sort of like magazines. They didn't use color. All they had was black and white, and it would be somebody would draw. They couldn't use a photograph. They didn't have the technology then, but they would do an outline. There wasn't even any red on my suit. So they figured out that it was cheaper just to do the outline of my beard without putting in extra stripes to make it look gray. So they just did it that way. Now people think my beard is white. You can always tell a real Santa he has a gray beard. What's my favorite cookie? How many of you guessed chocolate chip? I have to eat a lot of them to keep my cookie muscle in shape. That's what I call it. Mrs. Claus says it's my belly. I think it's my cookie muscle. And what's my favorite food? You may find this hard to believe, but Santa's favorite food is pizza. I love pizza, and I get to travel down here and get pizza once in a while. Got a lot of favorite pizza places too. Do the elves live with you and Mrs. Claus? Well, they don't live in our house, but they have several houses for them. Then we have the big, I guess you could call it a bunkhouse for the elves, for the single elves. We have one for male elves and one for female elves. And then we have the married elves. They have their own little houses. Now, do I have any pets? Santa has had many pets through the years. Right now, he has a corgi pup. Well, she's not a corgi puppy anymore. She's a Pembroke Welsh corgi. She's just over a year old, so she acts like a puppy a lot. And we named her Vixen. Not because Vixen's our favorite reindeer, but just because she looks and acts like a wolf. Or not a wolf, but a fox. Oh, Santa is just stumbling over his words today. And I have a cat. Well, I have an inside cat, and then I have one that likes to stay outside until it gets really cold. Wow, what is my favorite reindeer? Oh, I know everybody thinks it's Rudolph, but I don't have a favorite. I love them all. And every year we have the reindeer games, so we can pick the reindeer to lead the team that year. Now, they're not all named Dasher and Prancer and Comet and Cupid and Donner and Blitzen, but that's the title they take if they win. Like Dasher is our fastest. So whoever wins the reindeer game races becomes Dasher that year. That's how we do that. Okay? Now, I thought it'd be nice if I would read you my favorite Christmas story. It's a little poem. It was written a long time ago, and I just love it. There's been many variations through the years, but this is the original by Clement C. Moore. It's called The Night Before Christmas. I tell you what, let me take these gloves off so I can turn the pages easier. I'll put them back on before I go back out and get to work. I was out working with the reindeer before this. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. Now, St. Nicholas is one of my other names, okay? The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mama in her kerchief, and I in my cap, had just settled our brains for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new-fallen snow gave a luster of midday to objects below, when what to my wandering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. With a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. That's me. I like that he says I'm little. Most people think I'm big. Of course, I live with elves. More rapid than eagles, his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donder and Blitzen. To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall, now dash away all. As dry leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky. So up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with a sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too. And then in a twinkling I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all covered with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard on his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath. Now, I have to let you know, I quit using that pipe a long time ago because I found out smoking isn't really good for me. Plus, Mrs. Claus said it made my clothes smell funny. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk. And laying his finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim, ere he drove out of sight, "Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night." All right. Now, Rebecca, did you have any questions for Santa that you thought the kids might like to know?
How are you going to protect yourself this year when you come to our houses?
Very good question. Well, we do use hand sanitizer, and of course I wear gloves, but I always wear the mask. For one thing, it helps keep my face warm while I'm traveling. Mm-hmm. The beard helps, but it doesn't cover everything. So the mask helps, and Mrs. Claus made me some beautiful ones with my picture on them, of course.
So my house, I don't have a chimney. How are you going to get into my house to see my boys?
You know, I'm surprised I didn't put that down. Not everybody has a chimney or a fireplace. So, on Christmas Eve, this key looks like just a chunk of metal right now. But Christmas Eve, it'll open any door to let me in and leave presents to the houses that don't have chimneys. And that's so much easier than going down the chimney anyway.
Very good.
Anything else?
Not that I can think of.
Well, you children be good. There's a couple of you. You know you're real close. You better straighten up. You've only got a few more days. I'm sure you can do it, though. Santa loves you all. Merry Christmas to everyone, to your families and all.